Good morning, everyone. I'd like to make a few introductory remarks before we hand over to Professor Boggs and the rest of the schedule. The meeting today will continue from 9 o'clock this morning till 4:30, and the agenda is shown here. Once Professor Boggs has spoke, our good friend and inspiration Ron Hoffman will be next, and then Professor Wright will give one of the main talks from the sensor area. Lunch and a poster session start at 11:30. The students have been working, as you know they do, round the clock since, round the clock for 6 months, but now around the clock in the last weekend to produce those posters, and I think they're very excited to show them to you. And then this afternoon, we're very honored to have Professor Mamyshev visiting us. Thank you very much for coming. And then Jim Evans and Tom Devine will talk more about the material science side. We're honored to have Dr. Varghese from the California ISO, Debbie Sineski, one of our BSAC sensor experts, is speaking, and then our good leader of the daily work, Dr. Igor Paprotny, is going to speak at 4:15 to finish us up. What I'd like to really stress is that this project has really been, I think, a big success between the California Energy Commission, the Public Interest Energy Research Program, and the university. It's been an opportunity also to train a whole load of wonderful students, some of whom are on the left side there, that I think, Jamie, I can say, and Ron has always taught me, they would never be involved in these important energy matters if we hadn't had peer support and California energy support. It's a really magical combination of peer, CITRIS, and BSAC, and we feel very proud of that. As you know, there are several faculty members involved, 2 postdocs, 7 student researchers, and the main thing that we've been focusing on are these in-service testing aspects of the cables. It's funny, when I try to talk to my friends in the neighborhood about cables and the importance of them, they take it completely for granted that the electricity arrives at your house like water comes through the tap. And so it's been quite a fun thing for us to educate a broader community of our colleagues and to show them the importance of this work, especially in the last year or two since we've been focusing on the concentric neutrals. CITRIS is constantly focused on these societal problems. Another person I'd like to introduce you today is Dean Jeff Wright, the previous dean at UC Merced. Merced is a very big part of CITRIS. They have the most energy-efficient buildings on the UC footprint of the 10 campuses. They use them as a living laboratory. They have a very large chilled water facility that helps them with their demand response work in the afternoons. And it's a great honor to have Jeff working with us here at CITRIS headquarters for this whole year. And we've been developing many different programs together. I should point out, my colleagues, that Jim Evans is the colleague of mine in the front who is very big on the new aspects on our storage work. Tom Devine is at the rear there. And I saw Dick White, but he's going to be here later on, so you'll see him come through. What's fabulous about CITRIS is that this is not just one of those buildings that is another university building. On this building, we have about 50 faculty, and they've been drawn from different departments of electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and even some from the law school and the public policy school. And so as we get these programs closer to the California legislation, we have colleagues that can help us build that into the program activity. BSAC is also a very well-known center. It's been on campus for nearly 25 years now. It's one of the founding aspects of the CITRIS mission. And now, when you walked in the building actually today, an important part of BSAC is shown on the north-facing wing. You saw the new microfabrication lab, which we're just ramping up. That's a $60 million facility, which is one of the cornerstones of CITRIS and BSAC, and will continue to be a major asset to this project. I think sometimes we forget that. We take it so much for granted that we have the micro lab, but without that as our core prototyping facility with all that fantastic equipment, we wouldn't have that foundational resource for this project. BSAC and CITRIS work on many of these projects that are shown here. A lot of them are to do with basic sensors. Some relate to the medical field. Some relate to the general field of of wireless and RF on the left here, but many of them, as just shown on the right side, are to do with micropower and energy management, which is the topic of our conference today. Our agenda overview then will soon start with Professor Boggs, but I did want to say a personal thing. If I'm a little shaky this morning, I just came off an airplane from the East Coast last night, so whichever way you measure it, I got in bed at 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock, depending upon whether you add the 3 hours or not. But what I wanted to say is that for the 10 days I was away, the reputation of California in Washington is one which is actually where people are actually jealous of the things that California has managed to roll out to keep our energy use per head flat. You know that famous graph that many of us show? It shows this flatness occurring in 1973, and many of those projects that were funded and led to our energy consumption were part of PEER and the CEC. The next thing that happened after I did that, I went to this ARPA-E Energy Innovation Summit, which was the beginning of last week. Stephen Chu, our colleague who was the director of the lab, is now the DOE secretary, and then Arun Majumdar, who worked at the lab, also is the ARPA-E person. So the fact that there were 2 Californians representing this whole organization leads to a lot of people talking about PEER, talking about the California Energy Commission, talking about the exciting ways California started energy projects. And I have to say, just to make you salivate, there's $36.7 billion available in this program alone, just to sort of jumpstart many of the programs that we're talking about today. So this was an exciting conference where CITRIS and BSAC were mentioned a few times. And then at the same time, I went straight to this transmission summit, because this project that we're related to, I mean, this is transmission rather than distribution, but they're very allied. And once again, this is a project where it was clear to me that we're on a part of work that is extremely important. What really fascinated me is that some of these projects, like the Trace and Mega large project, which is trying to get the main 3, the Western Interconnect and the Eastern Interconnect all together in the area near Texas. And that project will be a major aspect of distribution, because that's going to connect our renewables into a combined grid. And then on Monday, just yesterday, I was at this program on the smart grid at the National Institute of Science and Technology, NIST. And it was just very gratifying to me, knowing that I was going to see everybody today, to have spent this sort of 8-day swing through the East Coast, where the kind of projects that we're doing are on everybody's lips. The politicians in Washington are at last understanding that the smart grid is more than just talk. There's some real technology that has to be developed for that. And so I just want to close by saying it's great to be here. The technology that we're working on is obviously something that's a major national asset. And I think I speak on behalf of Jamie and everybody in the room that this is a key project that we're doing to really help California and the rest of the country. So thank you very much. And right now, I can't think of a better handoff now than to invite our good friend Steve Boggs to come up and give one of his stellar presentations, which I'll know he does. So a round of applause for Steve.